Our first destination was Coimbatore, where one of our relatives received us with a warm smile. His name is Sampatha, and we headed to Coimbatore first specifically to meet him. After a sumptuous lunch at a big restaurant in the city, we headed to Marudamalai, a popular hill abode of Lord Subramania. An entry ticket with a small fee purchased, we drove up the hill in a taxi. The time being summer, the hill wore a dry look with patchy green in between. The road, however, was good and we reached the top in 15 minutes. The temple is surrounded by hills, making the overall landscape look beautiful even in this season. Down some steps behind the temple, there is a cave shrine dedicated to a saint by the name of Pambatisidhar. The view of the surroundings from there is even more enchanting, also having a good amount of bird life. Later in the evening, we reached Ooty by bus and checked into Sai Hilltop Resort. Our room was on the first floor and the place sure was clean with good food as well. Unlike other times, here I didn't want to sleep for long, instead was eager to experience as much of the place as possible. I woke up as early as 5 a.m. and went out to the balcony to check out the view and weather at that time. Man, I had a tough time even opening the balcony door as the winds were just too strong and it was terribly cold. Somehow, I braved the cold winds and managed to get some footage on the camera. A great start to the day, I thought, and the view only got better. A huge carpet of green with toy-like little colorful houses on the hilly slopes. Later in the morning, we set out to explore many more popular sites of the town. After a short photo session, we set out in our resort's own car, an efficient Mahindra Xylo. We decided to visit Doddabetta first, consulting the driver, a friendly young man named Harish. It was a half-hour journey from our resort, and the route was a mixed bag of vibrant tea estates and forests. Judging by the number of vehicles going the same way as us, we expected a crowded peak. Doddabetta, being the highest peak in the Nilgiri range, serves as a great viewpoint of the surrounding hills and towns. Here, there is also a separate telescope tower to get an even better view. Apart from my brother, none of us wished to go up to the extremely packed tower, but just took in the views from below. Finished with that, we came down the peak and proceeded to the tea factory cum museum. None of us had been to a tea factory earlier and so were eager to go when the driver told us about it. The fleeting glimpses of the vast green peaceful lands were beautiful, those you wouldn't find in the cities. We wondered whom these vast lands belonged to, also taking note of urbanization cropping up slowly. It was a sunny summer day, but being in Ooty, we expected it to be milder than it was. The tea factory took us nearly half hour to arrive at, and even this place was crowded. Nevertheless, it is nice to watch how tea is manufactured from the leaves. The sample they gave was unlike any other tea we had tasted ever before. Outstanding cardamom tea. Next up, we decided to visit the village of Paikara, famous for its waterfalls and lake in the same name. Paikara is a beautiful small hamlet 19 km from Ooty where we witnessed bountiful scenery all around that it is known for. Cute little houses dotted this landscape, adding to its beauty, resembling an English countryside somewhat. The waterfall surprisingly was in full flow even at this time of the year, which we were happy to see. However, barricades have been raised some time ago to prevent swimming in the river, wisely so. I was really happy to get good compositions of a waterfall like this one. After that, we headed to the Paikara lake, not far from the waterfall that we had just seen. It's a serene lake in the outskirts of Ooty, offering boating facilities to admire the lake and its wooded surroundings. The lake water, as you can see, is very clean with silky smooth looking sandy banks. We chose to ride in an ordinary 6-seater motorboat and it sure was a relaxing ride for about 20 minutes. Apart from that, there were the speedboats we considered at first, offering a 10-minute rush around the lake. This would have been a thrilling experience we thought as we watched one zoom by. Our boatman probably was upset about something, so we couldn't really get much information about the lake from him. We had always wanted to walk around in open, unlimited grasslands, and that's where we were headed to next. These are shooting meadows, so called because several Indian movie scenes are shot here from time to time. These offer beautiful green and blue hues of the surrounding hills, and one can take a long walk in these meadows without much restriction. However, owing to the dry season, the hues looked a bit pale. Nevertheless, we enjoyed our time there, spending over an hour walking in the grasslands and climbing trees. We ended our journey for the day by visiting a small Shiva temple later in the evening near our resort. The second day morning, we took a short walk to the nearby tea estates, which was really refreshing. This really was one trip that got the four of us some good bonding time, quality time spent together, relaxed. Later, once we were refreshed, we proceeded first to the Ooty town lake and had an energetic pedal boating session. It got a bit tiring after a while, so we took turns to pedal, two at a time, while the other two of us relaxed. Next up, my brother and I decided to go cycling in three different tracks around the lake. Challenging, but a lot of fun it was. We hadn't had a cycling ride of this kind before, but managed to finish safe. We then covered the Thread Garden and the famous botanical gardens of Ooty, a sprawling area of various exotic plants and good amount of birds too. Definitely need to mention the million-year-old fossilized tree and also the beautiful glasshouse exhibits. As you go to the higher slopes of the gardens, you find tall pine trees and also a variety of bird life, mainly in the early morning. We signed off with a visit to the nearby market selling juicy carrots and various other items like eucalyptus oils, biscuits and so on. Then there was this adorable big Saint Bernard that the resort manager had, and I wished I had got a photo with him. Later that evening, my brother and I set out to climb up another tea estate nearby. A wonderful view we enjoyed from there as the lights came on in the houses, and once it got quite dark, we made our way back to our resort, ending a very memorable trip.